that? What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the B Street Podcast for our 11th episode. It's been a few weeks since we've been able to record anything, but it's good to be back. We're doing another Hot Ones style episode, so things are about to heat up over here. So today we have Clark and Davis Sponseller. So thanks for coming in and
thanks for having us.
Joining the podcast. How are you feeling? What do you think?
Good. I'm excited to see how hot this stuff is.
Yeah.
I added a new one in. I forget what it's called. Get Bitten. So Get Bitten is a new one, and when I bought it, I couldn't wait and tried it and wasn't quite prepared for the heat that it brought, and so I ended up running around the church trying to find things to like cool myself down. So that'll be fun to see how it goes. And then this other one is what does that say? Black garlic? Yeah. By Bravado. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then we'll end it with the last dab. So, but before we get into all that kind of stuff, tell everyone just a little bit about you. Who are you? What grade are you in?
Okay.
What do you like to do?
I just graduated from Wade Hampton High School, and I'm going to University of South Carolina next year to study business management. I work at the Cliffs Valley right now, and pretty much I would have been doing just playing a lot of golf and just hanging out this summer.
Oh yeah, as Cody said before, Davis Sponseller, and I just graduated from Wade Hampton as well. I'll be a rising freshman at South Carolina, and I'll be studying finance. I also work at the Cliffs Valley and played a lot of tennis in high school, but picked up some golf now that we're done with that.
How does it feel to be a graduate?
It's nice.
Yeah,
has it like set in yet, or do you think
it's set in a little bit. It didn't set in as much at first, but it definitely has now.
Like some days you forget, and then you kind of come to and realize like, oh, wait, I don't have to go back to Wade Hampton.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Mm.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. Yeah, so one thing that the three of us have in common is that we all have or currently work at the Cliffs. So y'all said y'all work at the Valley. I worked at Glassy. What is your favorite thing about working there? Because y'all are bag drop, right?
Yeah.
So basically cart attendants. Yeah, so what is your favorite thing about it and your least favorite thing?
I would say the best part about that job is that you get like to play at free golf at all the courses, which is nice. The worst part, every Monday and Thursday you have to clean pick, which is getting every single ball off the range, which is takes longer than you'd like. So
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Best part's definitely getting the free golf. You can go there and hit range balls, or after work, or just play a quick 9 if you get done. Worst part's definitely taking out the trash. I think I hate taking out the trash itself. It's terrible.
Yeah, so the free golf, that was for sure one of the best things about it, because like you could go in, work a shift, and then you didn't even have to worry about getting a full round in. You just go out, hit a couple holes, and yeah, I think that was good. I'm done, and then just head on out. But clean picking the range was probably my least favorite, because Glassy is a mountain course.
It's a weird range, and
so there's just a bunch of hills, and you know, if you're clean picking, you got to walk through all the brush, and so yeah, that was never fun. But I didn't mind the trash, because going around the course, we got to just drive the golf cart, and so again, it's a mountain course, so it's super hilly, and
took a while.
And it did take a while. So that was, with your hourly, that was easy. Yeah, really cool. All right, so with this being a Hot One style episode, what is the weirdest food that you have ever eaten that you can think of? And if you can't think of just one, like top 3 weirdest foods you've ever eaten.
I don't know. What's yours?
What's mine?
Yeah.
So I've eaten a lot of weird stuff, but I was actually scrolling through my phone the other day and was reminded of it was a video that I have. So I went and visited my friend out in Dubai, and the people we were visiting, one of the things that they do is they drink bear bile tea. So it's like the bile, like the stomach contents of bears.
Oh.
And that is, it was one of the worst things that I can recall ever having like drank or eaten or anything like that. Because usually I would say I've had cow tongue and escargot, which is not awesome, even though some people like it. But yeah, the bear bile tea, like that was like we drank it and it was instant gagging and just ready to puke everywhere. So yeah, my friend Doug that was with us, it was quite the experience. Unforgettable. But that's probably mine.
I don't know if I've eaten something that's like super weird.
So we haven't really like traveled to
I haven't traveled anywhere that like I'd eat something like that. I've never been out of the country or anything like that, so I've never.
But even like with Young Life or school stuff, no one's ever put like sheep brain or pig's feet or.
We try to stay away from that at the school.
I don't know.
Probably the worst thing is like eating like fish at the school. Like that's just, it can't
yeah,
be
but
good.
fish isn't weird.
Yeah, but it's not. You know what I mean?
Okay. Man, I feel like I've let y'all down. As a youth group, we should have
tried something
weird stuff, because that was one of the things when I was in youth. We had a Fear Factor night, and that's where I ate the escargot, cow tongue. I want to say someone ate like a sheep's brain or something like that. So sorry if there are any crazy animal lovers out there that don't like us eating that stuff, but it is what it is. But nothing that you can think of. All right. Well, we're going to add hot chicken nuggets. So on Hot Ones, they do wings. On the B Street podcast, we do chicken nuggets. So from Chick-fil-A, obviously. So I think y'all ready to go for number one?
Yeah.
So number one is the classic by Heatonist, straight from the Hot Ones show. So we'll grab a nugget. So I think number one is that. So grab a fork. Grab a nugget. No, from one.
This is one.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that one. And just jump right in. All right. Number one is on the way. So, with where all stories begin, the beginning. Where would you say your story with Jesus begins? Where do you, like, first conversations? What do you remember?
I would say the first like memorable one would be Walk with Christ, because we did it pretty early compared to everybody else. We did it our 8th grade year, and it's kind of seeing everybody's testimony and how God worked through their lives. Because I feel like in 8th grade we didn't really go through anything traumatic that God was like we needed him so desperately in our life. I mean, like at that age, but kind of just seeing what he can do in your life is cool.
Yes, we grew up in the church all of our life. We've been members since we were born here, baptized here. But so we went through Sprouts, and then I'd say probably confirmation was like the first good memory. I mean, you spent so much time at the church. You'd have to go in the morning and in the afternoon. Your whole Sunday was surrounded around just coming to church and talking about Jesus. So I'd say that's probably when first started talking, or getting to know Jesus.
Yeah. So if both of y'all grew up in the church, then obviously you've heard the Christian terms, like you've grown up on it, that kind of thing. So the conversations happened way before then.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Walk with Christ and confirmation that stuck out? Like, why do you kind of go back to? Why would you say that's where I guess the Christian walk started?
I would say for me, just because I've always heard all the stuff like when you get to Walk with Christ, like in church and everything, you hear a good amount of the same stuff, like told in different ways. But I guess seeing it people like around my age use it in their life kind of makes me see that like everybody needs the Lord and like how he can work in someone as young as us.
Yeah, so I'd say that's probably like, I think we did confirmation in 6th grade maybe, somewhere around there. But before that, I was not really old enough or mature enough to really understand what's really going on. And we just kind of went to Sunday. It was like a routine, like you just kind of felt like you had to go. But when we went through, we got the deeper meaning through confirmation, kind of like really know it's how God's working, like what he really means and like what he means in our life and have a relationship with him. So I'd say that's where like kind of made that connection.
Cool. All right. How's the first one?
Not bad.
Tastes good.
Not so bad?
Yeah.
All right. You ready to jump on to number 2?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
You can go ahead.
So number 2, what is this? Cholula.
This is just normal hot sauce, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not going to leave my fork. I want to try using my fork. Okay, so with that kind of being where your story begins and kind of where Christianity started to make sense to you, what is it about it that made sense? Like, why is it something that you I guess what I'm really asking is, when would you say that your relationship with Christ began? Because just because you started understanding it doesn't necessarily mean that that's when your relationship with Christ started, right? So that kind of the whole reason we're here, that death to life, we want to make our stories less about us and more about glorifying God and what he's done. So what point do you point back to that says this is where my relationship with Christ begins, where I moved from death, doomed for eternal separation from God, and into life where, man, because of God's sacrifice, this is what I'm expectant of. So when would you say?
So like definitely, well, so confirmation, you kind of introduced it, got to know, but I'd say definitely to the next step was after Walk with Christ our 8th grade year. The feeling that I got after leaving that weekend was completely different than like how I looked before coming in. And so I'd definitely say I'd start praying more, reading my Bibles more, really getting excited for church more after that, you know. More looking at it just going to church.
Yeah, because we used to feel every time before then, it was nice going and learning more, but like never really like learned how to put it forth into my own life. And like, after Walk with Christ, I kind of pointed out like getting all the everything that all the activities they did, just showing you how, not like what God can do, but like how you can use it specifically in your own life. Like, you're not going to use it the same way I'm going to use it. That makes sense.
Yeah. You got a little condensation starting. Is that?
Yeah.
I sweat so much when he got outside. Like it won't even be hot, but I'll still sweat. I'll sweat when I eat like hot Cheetos.
Yeah, I can definitely feel the room starting to heat up. That one's not too bad, but
it's not even like hot. I just sweat.
Yeah, I feel a little bit there, but it's not too bad.
Completely.
So, but yeah, no, I think what you're saying is right. Like, we'll all experience God at different times, and the same truths about God will always be the same. We'll always experience the same God, in a sense that his truths and authority will always be the same. But yeah, no, I definitely see what you're saying there. All right. So, number 3. Ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Let's do it. So number 3 is Los Calientes. Where's my fork?
Good.
That one tastes good.
I forgot. All right. So can you think about a time when you have, or you remember experiencing the presence of God, like you knew, this is the presence of God. I know that I've found it, that I'm in it.
Definitely soaking prayer at Walk with Christ. I would probably not say like I'm an emotional guy. Like, I really don't show emotions, but definitely got emotional during soaking prayer, because you could definitely feel like his presence there and just everyone around you. It was definitely very impactful.
I was gonna say soaking prayer as well, but I feel like letters as well does the same thing. I feel like just kind of like, obviously you're gonna get letters from like your parents and close relatives and close friends, but I feel like getting letters and stuff from people like that you haven't seen in a while, or friends that you wouldn't think would write them, and talking about how much they appreciate you and all that, and just kind of realizing that how many people love you and how many people appreciate you.
Yeah. So what is it about those things that make you feel like that was the presence of God? And how do you find it outside of those things?
Definitely, you just, I don't know, I just had like this feeling come over me, like when someone's hand was touching you, could just totally feel the Holy Spirit there just really over me, and the thoughts that, like, talking was just completely different. Like, my mind was right there. It was completely all God, and there wasn't anything like swirling around, you know. But how does that translate to go back into after that? Definitely say it made when I prayed to God definitely better. Definitely could stay more focused, could talk longer, have more to talk about and stuff. Definitely easier.
Yeah, I would say for me, like, that as well, but also instead of, like, when I go to pray, instead of, like, if I see something, like a friend or family member struggling with something or anything like that, instead of just praying for myself all the time, like praying for other people, I find myself worrying about other people more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and I think kind of what both of y'all just hit on a little bit goes back to something I wanted to follow up in with the last question, but that is, you know, when your relationship with Christ begins, what changes about you, right? Because I feel like more and more I hear about, you know, salvation not being just a prayer. Like, when you're saved, it's not just a prayer, it's more than that. And so kind of using that as a point to draw back to. So kind of like what we were saying, like, there's a point that you draw back to, but if there's a point that you draw back to, then something after that has to be completely different. Like, we can't go back to the same, because that same person was a dead person. And so now we are new and made alive with Christ. And so what is different about that? And, you know, I think when we begin to look at how Jesus calls us to live, which is in obedience to him and the things that he has set forth, and we begin to see that it's not about us, it's more about glorifying God and who he is. And so in the things that y'all are kind of saying, what made it feel like the presence of God was the fact that other people were caring for you. So in the soaking prayer and with the letters, without getting too much into that for Christ's sake, but it's other people caring about you. And when people start to care for each other, and not just about you, but your well-being in the long run, spiritually, physically, emotionally, there's something about that. But the other thing that goes along with it is that your perspective and where it's happening is different. And so, you know, thinking about that experience going outside of just soaking prayer and letters, is that you don't just care about people in those moments. You know, you go and care for other people, right? Like your friends, your family, the people that you don't know, you take care of them. And a lot of times in service, that is where people experience God, right? But it seems like experiencing God is about seeking obedience to his ministry and saying, I live this way, I don't live this way because you've said this is no good, and so I choose to live this way. And when you do that, you just run into it all the time, because God says, hey, I'm here. You know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like if you take it that way, I mean, I don't want to get too far into the letters, but I agree with that.
It definitely sends off like a kind of like a chain reaction, I guess. Like, you see someone care for you, like you want to go out and care for someone else. You also sends out like a role model too. Like, you can see that they're caring for you as much, so you want to like be like them, if not better, but like just also care for other people like they care for you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, the more we start to see people in an eternal sense and less in a here and now and this is it kind of sense, then that just kind of changes how you see people.
Mm-hmm.
It also changes your goals and your purpose. It's more about this person now knowing Jesus and serving them than it is for any kind of personal gain that you could get out of it. Cool. All right. Number 3. Not
That's
so bad.
4. Oh yeah, 3 wasn't bad.
Yeah.
3 was not bad. 3.
On to number 4. So number 4, that's the new one, black garlic. Ready?
Yep.
Ready?
Let's do it.
Have you had this one before, Cody?
I did a little taste on it. It was good. It tastes good. All right. Can you think of a time where you have had a doubt or doubts about God? How did you get through it? Are you still in it? What were some lessons learned? And what do you have?
So, fortunately enough, I wouldn't say I really had too many big doubts. Like, I've never had, like, a big traumatic thing happen. So I never was like, why me? Like, why God? But I've definitely had a few things, like, go wrong and be like, just kind of like, what did I kind of not to do to deserve this, but, like, what do I need to do to kind of get out of this? Not really put the blame on God, but, like, kind of going back to figure out what to do, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Makes sense?
Yeah, I would say the same with me. I haven't had like a super hard doubt, but like I've had doubts, like spells here and there. Just kind of like been praying, I'm asking for this to happen, maybe this to happen, and it doesn't happen. And then just kind of wondering, like, because at that point I think that'd be the best thing for me to happen in my life, and then I guess maturing and realizing that not everything I want is the right thing, and what he has planned is gonna be better. Sometimes will be better than what I want in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because there's the that one kind of started to heat up a little bit, didn't it?
I was trying to talk, and I was like...
It starts to get on the end of your tongue, and your tongue starts to get, like, tied up. Yeah, that one was a little bit hotter. That was good. Yeah, so the scripture, goodness, where is it? Ask anything in my name, and it'll be given to you. And, so often people hear that, and it's like, well, I'm just going to ask for whatever I want, and it should just show up, And some people take that in a very literal sense, and it's like, well, I should be able to ask for this nice house or this car or whatever it is, and it'll be given. And it's like, that's not what it's saying at all. It's ask anything that aligns with my will, and I'll give it to you. But if it's not, like, lined up with my will, then and that's why you can pray for anything and you can ask God for anything, but it's not necessarily going to come back to you the way that you had hoped for it, and the more that you begin to seek God's will and align with that, the more you'll begin to pray things that fall in line with that, and you'll be like, oh wow, God's doing all this stuff for me. And it's like, well, you're also walking where I'm telling you to walk. And so when you do that, then you get to reap the reward a lot more, I guess. But yeah, it's like you're saying, like, sometimes I ask God for stuff and it
doesn't come.
He doesn't give it to me.
And then you later realize that, that probably would have been better. Like, this is better that did happen this way.
Yeah, and it's like he's looking at the whole picture.
Yeah, and you're looking short term.
And we're looking at this tiny little 80-ish year span of life. And that just kind of goes back to one of the things that I try and point out the most is, our stories have nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with God. And that's, what do you think about sharing that experience with other people? Like, how would that be beneficial?
It's definitely tough to kind of talk about and like cover, like kind of show the importance to people who don't really see it like that. Like they're probably like, especially like towards like Christian people or like just or just.
I think in this particular sense, and I should have clarified that, but I mean more in a believer sense. Like, why would sharing that experience be important?
Just kind of, I feel like, I would say definitely more for the younger generation, or not younger generation, like people a little bit younger than us, like probably people around in middle school and stuff. They don't quite realize like his plans. They're so everything for them is like short term, like day to day. They're praying, like if they're always wanting this to happen, they want to win this sports game or whatever, and and if it doesn't happen, it's like the end of the world for them. I think they'll like soon realize as they get older, but I feel like definitely that generation doesn't really get it.
How would it be beneficial for you to share your experience?
Beneficial to me?
Yeah, and what you said is fine. I'm, adding on to the question.
Okay.
But, yeah, how would it be beneficial for you and people your age and, like, your friends?
It's definitely very beneficial when if something does traumatic happen, like, so they stay on the right path and don't stray away from God, I guess. Like, because if something didn't, like, let's say, like, they lost someone in their family, like, you don't want them to go down and, like, completely turn away from God and blame Him for everything. Like, you just want them to know that, like, since, like, so that we stay on the same path and they stay on the same path.
Yeah, and I feel like it'd be beneficial to me, like, because if I start talking about stuff like that, I feel like everybody else is going to have different ideas than me, and I can get, like, a different perspective that can maybe help me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think too, like, with those things, I think that's really good. But I don't even think it has to be for, traumatic experiences. I think life is just hard sometimes.
Yeah.
And y'all are definitely about to feel that getting into college. Like, life is going to start to take a turn for both of you in that, independence is going to start coming more. You'll be out of mom and dad's house and kind of making your own decisions. And so it's not even going to be, traumatic stuff. It's going to be like, okay, well, this is what everyone else is doing. It's not really pleasing to God and the things that He wants, and so making those decisions. But if you've got people that you're walking in life with that are pursuing the same thing, it almost motivates you to want to pick things that are pleasing and in line with God's character. Because, again, you put your old self to death. I know the times that I find myself desiring things that are not of God, if I'm not going to someone and saying, hey, this is where my heart is right now, and it's not awesome, then the chances of me pursuing whatever that is just exponentially increase. But if I've got people that I'm bringing into my life and sharing that stuff with, well, they expect me to hold them to a standard, and I expect them to hold me to a standard, and now it's like, oh, wow, now I'm kind of, there's a little more motivation to walk in obedience than
for sure
the opposite. Anything else about that y'all want to?
I would definitely say, like you said, that verse definitely helps you kind of not, like, when you have your doubts, just trust in God. Like, He's got the plan for you. Like, if something goes wrong, don't just, like, I know I'll definitely find ways, like, someone go wrong, like, well, it's probably God's plan, like, let's just keep going, you know what I mean? And not sit there and, like, mourning about, like, how I didn't do good in something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even so much that it's God's plan, but God has a plan, right? Because, like, sin isn't God's plan, but He has a plan out of it. I know what you're saying. I just kind of wanted to shape that a little bit. I think you're spot on with it. But, yeah, His plan is everyone is living in righteousness and obedience, but obviously we're silly people and make bad choices.
That's not always the case.
So, all right, what do you think about 4?
It was tough at first.
Yeah, I got a little hot.
I was trying to talk, and I was like,
sweating over here. My nose kind of rose a little bit. All right, but let's move on
Let's go
to
with 5.
5. I'm kind of worried about 5 a little
Is
bit.
5 tough?
I think 5 is going to be kind of tough. I don't know if I put quite enough on there, but definitely more than is recommended. So it's fine. We'll be fine. So this is the Get Bitten.
What's the level on that one?
This is supposed to be, I want to say it's like 150, 250,000 Scovilles.
Which
somewhere in
one's
there.
which one's the fourth one?
This one?
I always give us what's the fourth one.
I never actually found out. I think that it's a little bit less than 100,000. So we're making a jump
Yeah.
right there. Ready?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Let's do it. Make sure to kind of rub it into the sauce a little there. We all might start crying. Oh. I thought we were going to do it together.
Oh, my bad.
We haven't done any others that way. Yeah, this one has a little more of the real flavors in it. We all might start just running around. I don't know.
I don't even know why.
Okay.
It doesn't even really taste that good, though.
I think it's because it sat so long. All right, so currently, what is your favorite Bible verse? And it's starting to hit me in the throat.
Oh,
What is your
God.
favorite Bible verse? And we still have one more to go. What can you tell me about it? Like, what's the context?
Mine is Psalm 100, verse 5. It's mainly talking about how...
What is it?
Psalms 100, verse 5.
What does it say?
Oh, here, let me pull it up. Get the exact one.
Sheesh.
It's like burning my
Oh
tongue.
my God. For the Lord is good and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations.
Yeah.
Mainly just talks about how, I think what they were saying was it was written as a song to say that God has all the power and his greatness, always loving you and all that.
Yeah, and all that. You know who wrote it?
I couldn't figure out who wrote it.
I think this is one that's attributed to Moses. And it starts out by saying, "Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth." Wow. Whew. I was going to try. There's some donuts there that might help a little bit. I was going to try and get through this one. I don't know if you can see it, but we're sweating it up. Yeah, make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with singing. Know that the Lord, he is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless his name. For the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations. And if this is attributed to Moses, thinking about what he did with the Israelites and leading them, looking at that and going, man, even in those times, we are still making a joyful noise to the Lord and keeping our eyes on him and glorifying him. I know it's quite the emotional thing. Whew. All right, Davis, what you got?
I got Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through God who strengthens me. Might need that right now, but I think Paul wrote it when he was talking to the Philistines, and he the context behind it was, when I always thought about it, it was, with God I can overcome anything, and you start to read kind of the verses before that, and it's kind of like that, but not really. It's more of, even when you're doing something good or doing something bad, you need to find God for the joy, not there to overcome. Like, you're not always going to solve the problem. He just wants you to have joy through God.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it has nothing to do with you, again, right? It has everything to do with God and who he is. Because, like you're saying, what he's saying before is, I've been in my highest of highs. I've been in my lowest of lows, which is pretty close to where I'm at right now. Good grief. But in all of those things, I can do all things. I can still share the gospel. I can still glorify God. I can make a joyful noise to the Lord with all the earth. For the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever. Like, that is why I can do all things through Christ. Because God stays the same. Whew, I love it. Really good. All right, and there's still one more.
I don't know if that one's going to go down easy.
I gotta get, hold on.
Take a breather.
I need to get a napkin or something. I really got some. I don't know if y'all want it. My nose is just running a lot. Sorry, Sean Evans. I'm not quite to your level yet where I can just sit through it. I mean, I guess I could, but...
Did you have that one on the last one?
Huh?
Did you have that one with Drew?
No. And that's why I got it, because I wanted a better one leading into the last dab, because I didn't feel like we got a good enough run into the last dab last time. And so this is really just going to put us over the top.
I'm not going to be able to talk on the last question.
As each question goes on, the questions get hotter, we get hotter. All right. So, y'all ready?
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that last one, Cody.
You got to do it.
I don't know if I'm
As
going to
is
be able to do
tradition
it.
around here, we put one last dab on the last nugget. So, let me pick out mine.
Do we have any more milk? I don't
You haven't put it on there yet?
Huh? No, it's on there. You put a last dab. It's tradition.
I don't know if I'll be able to do that, Cody. I'm not going to lie to you.
All right. You don't have to do the last dab, but you can. Are you doing it? Are you doing the last dab, or putting the last dab on there?
I don't think I'm going to be able to do
You
it.
gonna Dab it up?
I'm not going to put the last dab on it, though.
All right.
Or, like, put
That's
the
fine.
extra
Hey.
dab.
That's okay.
I might need to fill my water real quick, though. I'll be right back.
There's another one in the cabinet.
Alright.
We gotta take a break.
Maybe more
for this.
milk?
No, that was all the milk I got. I got more donuts though. Yeah, just look in that cabinet.
How many more vegetables is that one?
Huh?
The second one.
A lot. This one jumps into the 2 million Scovilles.
Oh, God.
I'm worried about Davis over here. Although Clark is the one with extra water.
Listen, that one jumps into like over 1 million.
2 million.
I don't know if I'll be able to do it, Cody.
Yeah, you gotta do it. We're in it.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I won't be able to talk if I do it. I promise you. This.
All right, here we go. Let's do it.
Send it.
Send it.
God, I don't know if I can do that one.
Woo. All right. So, how? Wait, you haven't eaten your nugget. Eat your nugget.
I'm waiting, dude. I don't know if I'll
No,
be able
eat
to do it.
Do it.
All right. Where's my fork?
Clark is shaking.
It's going to upset my stomach, honestly.
Let's go. All right. How has your faith changed in the last year? There's been a lot that's happened in the last year.
There's been a lot.
How's it changed?
So, definitely changed a little bit at the beginning of COVID. Not being able to go to church, definitely, I wasn't as close. I mean, I was still close to God, but he was definitely not in my thoughts as much as he would normally be. But definitely, Walker Kaiser's passed a few months ago. Being a leader definitely improved it tremendously. I mean, you go through it as a camper and then volunteer, and it's still great. But being a leader and like being with other people my age and having to help them through like their stuff was definitely very impactful. So like that, if I was coming down a little bit, I mean, it brought it way better.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
How has your faith changed in the last year?
I would say kind of understanding that God is always right, kind of like going back to before, like I would want this certain thing to happen in my life, and then it wouldn't happen, and then I'd get pretty upset about it, but then just kind of realizing that God's always right. And that's past that for you will be the best thing that can happen in your life.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, fellas, you made it through. All the way through the last stab. It just sits so heavy on your tongue.
The jump between the fourth and the fifth, I think, was bigger. That was brutal.
Way bigger.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe they just hide a little bit, but
I mean, that one was...
I swallowed that one super fast, too.
Yeah, I did too.
I'm just trying to get it out of my mouth.
I mean, as of right now...
Just sits in your throat.
That one right there was worse than that one.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah. Cool. Goodness. Yeah, that fifth one was like super
brutal.
hot. It just like...
There was something about it that was just worse than the sixth one. I don't know what it was, but...
Either way, you've made it through. You can say that you've made it through all the hottest of the hot sauces. Man, thanks for taking some time to sit around and talk about the Lord and how He's been working in your life. I know for me, it's always a very encouraging thing to be able to do this with you guys and just kind of to hear that kind of stuff, and I hope it is for you as well. So what do you have going on next? What are you gonna do with the rest of your day?
Might go work out. Definitely gonna play some golf. Probably should go work out, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely try to go work out. Either play some golf, maybe at the pool if it's super hot out. I mean, it was so hot yesterday. We tried to play golf and pool was calling the name.
Pool's the name. Well, as we wrap up, as always, I'm sure Clark and Davis would definitely love to take some time and talk with you if you have any questions. And so, next time you see them around church, say hey. If you are interested in coming and sitting down and sharing your testimony and you want to eat some spicy nuggets or not eat spicy nuggets, just come and sit on. Let me know. I'd love to have you on the podcast. We'll try and I think we're going to try and start doing these a little more regularly. We had a really long break between the last one, but
There was just a lot going on. I would like to do it a lot earlier, but we always had work opposite days, and
there's always something.
Yeah.
Figure out how to do it a little more regularly. But yeah, so with that being said, this has been episode 11, and thanks again for sitting down.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Thanks for having us.